We've all got our stuff. We've got challenges to overcome, hurdles to get across, and sometimes they seem impossible, but they've been done by others before, and we can learn from them. When you come from a whole other country, when you come with nothing and you build something great, that's someone you need to learn from, and that's someone we're going to talk to next. Izka Gonzalez on Purpose Under Pressure. Well, the heat is on. Let's get cooking. This is Purpose Under Pressure. It's a podcast about people like you and me. We're business folks. We're organizational leaders. We're just people trying to do the next right thing, right? And when the storm rises in the morning and tries to knock you off pace by afternoon, well, this show is about what happens to those who just won't let it happen. They show purpose, and they show it under pressure. It happens to us all, and this show is meant for us all. If you're back and you like it, please do let other people know by liking the program, subscribing, following. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's just about everywhere. We're about 100 episodes deep, and so you'll find something that you like. So if you do, please do like us and let other people know this show's worth listening to and watching as well. This show and all over 100 episodes so far has been brought to you by my friends and partners at Sandler by the Ruby Group. They serve sales professionals nationwide. They're in Akron, they're in Columbus, they're in Jacksonville, Florida, they're in Capital Region, upstate New York, and they provide sales training, business growth, revenue strategies to help your people develop better so that you can increase your revenues and your growth. It's not about revenue first. It's about people first. It's about your people. It's about your customers. How can you both do the right thing together? It's Purpose Under Pressure, and that's what Sandler by the Ruby Group will provide. So if you are interested in learning more, check them out online at therubygroup.sandler.com. I like to say that if that's the only call you make, and if you don't buy anything from them, it'll still be the best call you make today. So go ahead and challenge me on that and give that a shot. That is the commercial. Here comes the show. It's Purpose Under Pressure, and I'm excited to introduce to you today our guest. She's Izka Gonzalez. She's the owner of the Hiring Revolution, an international talent acquisition consultant. That's a hard word to say. Let me try it again. International talent acquisition consultant. There's a lot of syllables there. She's also a career coach, keynote speaker, and she's our guest on Purpose Under Pressure. Welcome to the show, Izka.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really glad you're here. I'm very interested and have been for a long time. I've served on school boards with career centers. I've worked with businesses trying to hire. I've worked with people trying to get hired. It's all about doing the right thing from the hiring position, but also from the people position. And there's a lot to learn there. I'm also interested in your history as an immigrant coming in, starting your own company and succeeding in that, because that is incredible as well. So let's talk about that. Can we talk a little bit about your purpose, why you do what you do, who you are, what makes you the best at what you do, because that's why we do it. And let's
Of
let
course.
people meet Izka Gonzalez.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, well, I was born in Mexico City and I moved to the United States 8 years ago because I fell in love and I married. Like, honestly, I was like, it was never in my plans to move to the United States. I studied international business and I was working just because it had to be in recruiting. So talent acquisition, I would say, is like a fancier way maybe to say recruiting. So I
Yeah,
was working
recruiting
for,
is a lot easier. That you could have told me
it's
that
easier.
at the beginning of the show. Yeah.
I'm a recruiter. So I was recruiting for, like a 500 Fortune companies. And I was in different industries and I love what I was doing, mainly for Latin America. So I was working a lot from Mexico, but hiring for different industries, companies, regions around the world. And then I stopped because I left my country. I decided to move here and I wait like for all my legal paperwork. So once I got my green card, I started working honestly right after. Once I got my green card, I started working in a manufacturing company for the automotive industry. So I was in charge of recruiting for Latin America. And
Okay.
we are talking about 2019, just for everyone to have an idea. So it was very close to the pandemic, and I had a baby exactly in 2020.
Oh my.
So I came from this amazing career of being a recruiter, growing from being a trainee, recruiter, manager, and I ended up being promoted right when the pandemic started to become a director. And I love talent acquisition. I love everything that is related with best practices, helping people to understand how to deal with job search, helping hiring managers to understand what do they need to do out there, because the job market is true has been changing a lot in these past 5 years, I will say. And I was in charge of Latin America. I was helping Europe, Middle East, South Africa, and I was also in charge of some businesses in the United States. At the same time, I was just a new mom in the middle of the pandemic, and I burned out.
And so let me ask you this before we talk about the burnout and what you did about that. You did all of that within 8 years of leaving your country and starting here, the
Yeah.
family and the new. I feel like it would have been harder. I can tell there's more pressure to come, but that's fast success in what I think would be an almost insurmountable challenge of leaving my home, my maybe family. I'm assuming
Mm-hmm.
my company, my culture, my country, my culture, and starting over. Was it that easy? And easy, maybe easy is the wrong word, but was the path that clear that you were able to become successful fairly quickly?
Yes, thanks for mentioning that, because I think in my brain I tend to, like block that part and go
Mm.
to the nice part. It was hard. It was like, I would say, a year. No, I will just go back a little. I used to visit all the time here, like in Cleveland. So I come from Mexico City, nice weather, warm, but I was always coming during the winter. So my main surprise here was that there's a summer.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
oh, there's
beautiful, but yeah,
summer.
it's cold too. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
like, oh, there's a summer in Cleveland. But I think it was the first year while I was waiting for my green card and I was not working in corporate. It was the first time I actually stopped. I was always working since I was in college.
Mm.
So that pause, it was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't have friends here. Thankfully, there's like La Plaza, so I can go get my food, Latin food. No
Yeah,
commercial, but who knows?
that's okay. Yeah, yeah,
And I would say, thankfully, the family of my husband was here and his
yeah.
friends. So I was part of that community, I would say, instantly. But I have to say, I was like a lot, um, I would say alone is a word. Like, I was here at home, he was working, and I was just like figuring out at some point what to do. I started like, at some point, I was like, I need to work, but I can't work. So I'm just gonna start using LinkedIn more and be in contact with previous colleagues and managers. And
Yeah.
it was like, in a way, it was a long year to wait for actual work.
Yeah.
And I also realized how much focused I was only on work. Like, the social part, when you're an immigrant, can be hard if you don't have a community. So it's
Yeah, you
it's
need
kind of
that
hard.
support channel. You need someone to help you. We all do, whether we're immigrants or
Yes.
not. We need to feel like we belong. We need to feel like someone needs us. We need to feel valued, and I think that goes across the board, no matter what. It may be harder for
Yes.
others, but it's such a need. It's such a basic human need. And so let's talk then more about you had success. Now let's get to what you were getting to before I derailed you.
No, that's good.
I'm interested in what caused the burnout and what you did about it. A lot of
Mhm.
people listening and watching right now are feeling burnout at the end of the year.
Yes.
We're recording this just before Christmas. Man, 2025 was hard. I have no idea how I'm going to start the next year. Like we're burnt out, right? We're tough. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, and this is exactly the time, going back to recruiting and stuff.
Hmm.
People get like a break, Christmas break, winter break. And when they're back, it's like, I'm tired. I don't like what I do. I need another job. I want more money, everything. So that's what happened to me. I went on vacation to the beach. And when I came back, I was like, I'm working so hard. I'm probably not getting paid enough for what I'm doing. But what I discovered, I would say, that was in 2022, and it started to affect my health. Like, one day out of nowhere, I just started to have like horrible migraine, and I couldn't see from my left eye for a moment,
Hmm.
and I was having vertigo, everything in a week. So I was like, this is impacting my health right now. How is it gonna be in few days, weeks? So I talked to my husband and I was like, you know what? I think I need to quit. Like, I have so much going on. I don't even have time to think. There were so many changes in the company, and I was like, I want to quit. So I did. 3 years after that, now that I'm reflecting on it and that I'm close to people that also talks about burnout and all this social health and security at work, I think it was a mix of my responsibility, in the sense that I wanted to do too much. I wanted to keep growing faster. I wanted to be a successful Latina in the United States, growing in the corporate world, and at the same time managing a family. I was demanding too much about myself and I wasn't aware of it. But
Mm.
also, it has to do with the company, and that's what I see in so many companies. Like sometimes you have good performers in your team and you have overachievers, and you like award them with more work. So work becomes like an instant reward, which
Yeah.
in some cases works. Like they say, like if you want to overcome at work, just work more, like show results, but not if your health is in danger. So that's what happened to me. I realized it. I quit with savings, but I quit with no plan at all. Like I was just, I don't want to get sick, I don't want to risk my health, and I just want to be here for my family. So that was very clear. I want to be, for here for me and my family for sure.
And so you were very present at the time. It wasn't about what am I going to do next? It's what am I going to do now? I've got
Yes,
this
yes.
issue I need to solve right now. A lot of people, when they're trying to figure out career change, are more worried, I think, about what can go wrong in the future. What if I don't get this? What if I don't get that? What if I end up bad here? What if this goes wrong? You didn't let that bother you. You just said, look, right now is wrong. I'm going to fix it. And then you kind of bet on yourself to make it. Is it that easy? You're in recruiting right now. You're probably dealing with a lot of folks that are trying to figure out their next step. They're dealing with this stuff, right? How do you overcome that fear and just make that step? You did it. How do you help others do it? The same thing.
Yeah, I think, and I didn't, in that sense, I didn't do it by myself only. I listened to a lot of financial coaches first,
Ah,
way before that.
okay.
So I
That's
think
different.
one of the things is like, in order for someone to do this like I did, if you're worried about your income, if you're worried about your finances, then it adds like a complication. The reason why I feel I could do it is because I had savings together with my husband. And
Okay.
I was like, we will figure it out, like, okay, how much money do we have? Can I quit? Because of course we just got a house too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
can we do this? And that was the main thing. So today, what I've seen with the labor market, like with all these changes, not just around artificial intelligence, but tariffs and everything, ideally you can come up with a plan. But if it's like a, let's say, as I think in my case, it was like an emergency. This is like, if I don't take care of myself right now, like something bad could happen because I'm experiencing it, I'm feeling it. So I think it's like a matter of, if you want to do something like this, at least pause for a second, see how your finances are, and take a moment to see what you know how to do, like your transferable skills, like how are you good out there, and then you can move on. Like if you have to do it, prioritize your health, but if there's like other things involved, definitely take a look at it before it happens.
Yeah,
Before it
before it
happens.
happens, and it's not always up to you.
Yeah.
It's not blind faith. You just showed me a lesson. I sometimes think, look, it's okay, just go, it'll work out. And I think there's some truth in that. As long as we
Hmm.
continue to work hard, there is some
Oh
truth
yeah.
there. But you're saying let's also plan. Let's be smart. Let's do things at least on purpose and with a plan. Sometimes we don't get to. Sometimes we're
Yes.
told your time is
Oh
done.
yeah.
Go find something else to do. So I'm
Yes.
I'm interested in who you work with, how you help them. What are the problems they're seeing? Is it that they can't find work in their chosen path, that they are unwilling to try a new path, to find a new way, a new path forward, a new different career, or whatever it might be? Is it the issues of the immigrant? I'm interested in that too. I wonder
Hmm.
if it's different. I don't know. Is it different for a natural born citizen to find work? I might guess and assume based on news and things that I see, but I mean,
Hmm.
what are you focus on, and what are you helping people to overcome?
Hmm.
I just gave you a lot there, but what is it that you're helping people do?
Yeah, I think I will just go. I will explain something important. Big part of what I do is create content. So what I do is educate people on best practices for job search, but also for recruiting, and how the world is today moving mainly on LinkedIn. So I started, what happened is like when I was burned out, I was like, I just want to quit corporate. I don't want to know anything about it. I want to become like a wedding planner. And right after I got pregnant again, so I was like, maybe I cannot start planning weddings. So what can I do? And I started creating content without even knowing that there's a creator economy. I did, like 3 years ago, I didn't know that word. I
You
didn't
just
know that
started
word
doing it, and there
existed.
it was.
I
Okay,
just
yeah,
went.
Yeah.
So it comes
Creating
from,
content for who? For businesses to hire, to recruit?
honestly, I just started like putting out what I was feeling, because
Huh.
the main platform I knew was LinkedIn. In my
Mhm.
head was like, it has to be so hard to have a YouTube channel, and it has to be so hard to be like an Instagram person. And I went to LinkedIn because I was like, oh, I know LinkedIn. I didn't know you can post here. I'm gonna start just doing it. And that's how I did it. I was like just writing. First I started in English, but then I was like, Spanish is my natural language, so I just want to do it in Spanish. And I started writing, and a month after that, I heard about that creator program on LinkedIn, and they reached out to me, and I started like understanding better the platform in terms of how can I help people out there. At that point, I didn't even think of monetizing it at
Hmm.
all. So I was
Love
just
that.
helping because I was a recruiter struggling finding talent around the world. And I had friends and family that really struggled finding a job. So I was like, what is missing is this part. A lot of people doesn't know, they don't know how recruiting works. And I can tell you because I know from like big companies, of course, never, like sharing anything that it's on an NDA or something, but
Yeah.
sharing best practices that we can actually find everywhere. So that's what I was doing. And because I shared how it works, people start asking me, like, can you coach me for an interview? Can you check my resume? And then it's like, can you hire people from us? And I was like, I didn't want to work, but work started coming to me. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe I really need to create, like, I want to create an LLC. And this was like quick. So I started creating content on February 2022. And in April, I had my first contract. Like they hired me to be a recruiter for a SaaS company that is based in Boston. So I
Mhm.
was like, I didn't know that could happen, that I could set my own rates, that I could set the way I was working, that I was
Wow.
traveling and working at the same time with my family. It was like so crazy. And then I just continue. So from there, I was like, I create my LLC. I started to creating my services, my prices, like looking on how to do this better. And I started just having people. Mainly, I work with people in Latin America because I create content in Spanish, but I also have content in English and I interact a lot in English. So I have clients in the United States, I have clients in Europe. So they reach out to me because they want to navigate better the job search world, I will say. But at the same time, there's companies that see what I do, so they hire me to train their managers to talk about LinkedIn. They want me to help them, like hiring, because I work also like in my free time. I work
Yeah.
with a consultancy in Mexico City that works for Latin America, so we can help them. For example, a company in the United States that wants to hire someone in Colombia, we can help. So it's like based on all my previous 15-year experience in corporate recruiting, human resources, training, suddenly I was putting everything out there without even knowing. Then I realized, like, oh, I'm a content creator. I want to be professional. And I started learning more about it. So
I love that.
I help a lot of people, I would say.
You help people, and that's what you do. I remember Steve Jobs said, find something you love and do that thing. Let that thing be your job. I'm paraphrasing. It's not always easy to do, but you did it just by creating things that you loved, that you knew, and sooner or later it turned into. It wasn't the purpose, but sooner or later it turned into a business. I love that, and I think that people can learn from that, and that kind of goes back to the idea of step out of the boat, have faith, it'll work out. I mean, sometimes you're led to do the things you're led to do. I'm interested in your position. So there's businesses that are recruiting and you're helping
Hmm.
them mostly in the international framework. Are you helping
Correct.
international businesses find international, or are
Yeah,
you
like
helping, how's that work?
Yeah, like mainly like my content, and I built actually a community that grew really fast for job seekers around the world. I have people from more than 20 countries join my community. So I do have a free community for people who wants to look for a job. But at the same time, people from companies see me. So I will say my main thing is to help people to find a job, like either
Okay.
if they want to find a new job or if they are like thinking about it. And
Okay.
then if a company wants to train someone on LinkedIn, best practices of interviewing, like actual training, that's where I can come and help. Every now
Okay.
and then I can help hiring, but because it takes a little bit more time and I'm mainly with my kids, that's what I don't do that too much, but I still do it. Like sometimes there's like a small company that wants to start recruiting and they don't have the framework, they don't have job descriptions, they don't know how to start, where to go. That's when I can come and consult and say, like, we need to fix a lot of things before you do this.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that's what I'm still have the international talent acquisition
Yeah.
consultant, because that's something I do all the time.
And is it just you?
It's me. I'm a
It's just
solopreneur.
you. And
Um,
you're a mom and you're a wife.
yes.
Like, so how do you, I think work life balance is an important topic as well. Quickly, how do you handle that? Because you're growing in ways that you don't even know you're going to grow
Yes.
tomorrow. It's all coming at you fast, and yet your kids are growing up.
Yes.
How does that work? And I imagine your husband likes to see you every once in a while. So how does that all come together?
Yeah, we realized. I realized at some point, like, oh, I also need time for myself, my
Yeah,
family. So I would
we
say
forget that part.
handle is the right word. Balance, it's really hard. Like, if I have to be honest, like, there's some times when I was just crying, doing dishes and crying and thinking I won't be able to do this any longer. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And at the moment I was crying, I received a message from a client that just booked like a meeting. I was like, okay, I can do it. So recently I started to think more like, for there's certain things where I need help. So, for example, I hired a company to help me for few things with branding, because I'm not an expert in branding. So
Mm-hmm.
I hired a company to help me with, like some designs, like some professional pictures and stuff that I
Mm-hmm.
can use.
Sure.
But also, then I was like, I have to prioritize what I'm going to do. And that was the hardest part, because things started coming out of nowhere. Like, you get invitations for a podcast, for trainings, for this, come here, everywhere. And it was really hard. And I would say, like, the main thing I use now to manage all these is saying no.
Yeah,
And it's the hardest part,
it is.
because
It is.
I'm letting things go. But then I realized, like, no, I'm not. Like, I just have to make sure where do I want to go? Like, what, like, is it really just the money what I need, or is it me being present with my family? And that's always when I'm, like, around those things. And therapy. Like,
And therapy.
yes, because like, it's hard to do it by yourself. Like, sometimes you just really need help. So I wasn't afraid, and I just went back to my therapy, and I was like, yeah, I need to have some help,
Mm-hmm.
and share this with people too, because that's what I keep coming to create content. Content is so beautiful, because eventually it's going to maintain your business. Of course, if you're from the very strict business perspective, you cannot always do everything for free, but everything you're doing has a way. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, I think, about the creator economy. But I would say the short answer is, I'm learning a lot every day to say no.
Yeah. And it's very difficult to say no
Yes.
when you're doing things you love. When you love to
Yes.
help people, when you love to take care of your child, and you love to take care of your family, and you love growing, and you love all these things, it's very hard. I know I love to take care of my customers, and when one more customer wants something else, it's almost impossible to
Yes.
look them in the eyes and say no, not because you're worried about them, because you want to help,
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and so let's talk about the other side then as we go through towards the end of this conversation. I'm interested now in your customer. We just talked about a situation with you where you have you're overloaded with opportunity,
Hmm.
and it keeps on coming because you're doing what you love, and that's the secret, right? But you're helping people that don't have that, and they wake up in the morning and maybe they don't have a job to go to, maybe they're stifled, maybe they're going to a poor job that's not fulfilling them, so their life isn't the same. Work life balance is a little different for them. Maybe it's completely off track.
Hmm.
What do you find is the biggest hurdle that someone you're helping is trying to overcome? What's that number one or number two hardest thing to get over so that they can be successful in
Hmm.
their next career or in finding the next career?
Everyone in the organization needs to know how to sell. Sales is the strength of any company. Whether or not you're in marketing, operations, or even finance, everyone has a strong shared accountability towards driving top-line revenue. Whether or not you're client-facing or talking over the phone, you're able to build a stronger level of rapport with the clients. Everyone in the organization shares that responsibility to know how to sell.
What's that number one or number two hardest thing to get over so that they can be successful in their next career or in finding the next career?
It's so interesting, because a lot of times every situation you describe is what I get. And most of the times, all of them are overachievers. They deliver great results.
Hmm.
And the main barrier they have is in their thoughts. They just have a lot of limitations. Like, what if I start looking for a new job and I don't get it? What
Yeah.
if it's a worst company and my profile is not very good? I don't speak very well English, or I just want to move to a different country, but what if it doesn't work? I already tried everything. And when we have a conversation, I'm like, tell me what you tried. And it's just two things. I'm like, well, this is all the things that you haven't tried. So I think it's a lot, and it's very interesting recently. It's like like an inner fight they have with their own thoughts, their own limits that they are setting up because someone said something on Facebook, on Reddit, on LinkedIn. And then I'm like, let's see the facts, let's start tracking what you're doing. And then, like, honestly, like any consultancy, like any company, we need facts. Tell me with facts that this is not working. And then it's like, for some people it takes a little bit longer, others are like, "Ah, I didn't know that," and boom, they have a new job in 5 days. Other
Yeah.
people might have it in 100 days. But it's about of transparency, helping them understand how things work and what they can actually control. People tend to worry a lot of what they cannot control. I cannot control how many interviews you're going to have. I cannot control if a company or if a recruiter is ghosting you, but we can control, like, how you present your resume, how do you prepare for an interview, and how do you put your personal branding out there. So that's what we do all the time.
I love that, and I love what you're doing. I have 100 more questions, but I want to ask this one. I've noticed a trend recently, and it's not a good one, and I don't quite understand it. Not so long ago, like it feels like days ago, maybe months, maybe last year, businesses couldn't hire enough people to stay in business. They
Mhm.
couldn't reach their projections. They couldn't hit their revenues. They couldn't do anything because they didn't have enough people. They were closing days because they didn't have
Mhm.
enough workers. Now, all of a sudden, I'm seeing recruiters like there's like this need or a lack of need. It's almost like people are complaining now. Here, let me get to the question. People are complaining that their applications aren't being looked at, that the AI algorithm is screwing them over. They're not getting seen. They're getting
Mhm.
ghosted. Like in the
Mhm.
market I just described, you wouldn't get ghosted. You could just show up and knock on the door and you'd be working tomorrow. But now it feels like we don't need anybody anymore. What's shifted? Am I misreading that?
I think something that definitely happened during the pandemic is that some companies overhired. Some company, and if
Hmm.
you think about it, if we go back there, there was a clear, always a clear, like, light, I would say. There, people were saying, like, we don't know how this is going to impact the supply chain, for example, and how is it going to impact technology, because there was a boom, everyone's switched to Zoom. So a lot of companies were like overhiring, and that's the result we see today with some of the layoffs, big layoffs like Meta, big layoffs
Yeah.
like Amazon. And so that's one thing. Companies, sorry, that were not really planning well how to hire, and they don't really know very well how to distribute their workloads. The other
Okay.
thing, and it's very true, is that with the rise of artificial intelligence, there are so many things that can be done quickly, but also there's companies that are more aware of how to automate. So it's two different things, automation and artificial intelligence. But when you combine both, it's like, oh, now we can get rid of all of these. And then you have companies like Duolingo that wanted to go AI first, and then it's like, oops, no, we need people back. So it's like a lot of things happening at the same time. So it's a shift in the way we work, like coming back to the office, people that still want to work remotely, people that is quitting corporate, that there's like so many changes in the work culture itself,
Hmm.
that if you are not aware of it, like, in I would say, like, the World Economic Forum is saying it, like by 2030 people might have to be really, like, technology wise, or like they need to have more digital skills.
Hmm.
What is the people that is, like, they're behind that? It doesn't really have to do with age. It can be like recent graduates that have no idea, and they are not even using AI the way they could. They are not even interested. You have 60-year-old people that is teaching how to use AI.
Yeah.
So it's like this. It's a quick turn into the world, like labor and work
Yeah.
world that is changing. So
It's
there's companies
scary.
that are recruiting more recruiters, and there's others that want to use only technology. So it's an interesting moment that we're facing, similar to when the internet started, I would say.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's hard for people if you've been in a career for 25 to 30 years or whatever it might be, 15 to 20 years, and all of a sudden you need to find something else. There's a whole world that's happened while you were at your desk.
Yes.
Using tools that you understood. There's a whole world that's happened since then, and you step into it. It's very difficult, and it's almost overwhelming. I remember once, I'll tell you the story. One of my good friends was also my boss for 12 years, and I remember as I was getting a little older in the tooth and had been there a little long, maybe too long, and I said, "Hey man, you can't teach an old dog new tricks." And you know what he said? He said, "First of all, you're not an old dog. You're not a dog." Oh, okay, true. And then he said, and second of all, you're wrong. You can teach a dog new tricks. You can learn new things. You can go out and make yourself better. You can do this. And yeah, I'll always remember that conversation. So you can help people. Let's wrap this up by telling people how you can help them, where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, and move their careers forward.
Thank you.
On purpose.
Yeah, well, they can find me mainly on LinkedIn. That's where I'm going to be, as Izka Gonzalez. I have a community, international community. It's called the Hiring Revolution. And I'm the main platform where I do that is NAS.io. And I can help you to prepare for an interview, like to prepare and navigate the job search. But also, if you want to build your brand on platforms such as LinkedIn, I'm more than happy to help.
Tremendous. I'm glad you let everybody know that. And I want to thank you for one thing. I think people get an idea that they can't overcome their challenge. And Izka, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different challenges. You don't have them all, but you've got your share. You came from Mexico City without anything, and built something, left it and built it again. And I think that's just amazing. And if we ever feel sorry for ourselves, I think we can look to you as inspiration that if she can do that, then we can do this. And I want to thank you for being vulnerable and open and sharing that story on Purpose Under Pressure.
Thank you. That's what I would say. If I can do it, you can do it as well.
I think that's true for just about anybody. Thank you so much. That is Izka Gonzalez. She is the owner of the Hiring Revolution. And if you're looking for her, you can find all of her contact information in our show notes. And I hope that you'll reach out. I appreciate her being our guest on Purpose Under Pressure. It's a show brought to you by Sandler, by the Ruby Group. Sellers are under pressure to perform. Sandler helps you to succeed on purpose. You'll find all past episodes of Purpose Under Pressure at bryanmediastrategies.com/podcast and wherever you stream your favorite shows. We do this every week, and we will do it again next week on Purpose.